Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry for coming a little bit late. I told him I won't be able to make it, but he, being the kind of person he is, he was persistent, and he said I have to just come to give one or two speech. So my slide is not here because I'm just traveling, and I just came back. I just came on my way here, but to really emphasize more on most of the topics that he gave me to talk on. I'll be talking on the finance. I'll be dwelling majorly on finance because it has a whole lot of things to do with me. And what the pastor said about you being here and being your formative years is very, very important. Do you understand? I thank you for the opportunity you've given me to be part of your day as well as being part of your time. And you taking time to be here, right, is another level of set time for you in your journey in life. Because as it is now, right, something like this happened to me about 20 years ago. Because when I was growing up, my dad left us at a very young age. He traveled abroad and just left us. So it was just me, because it was just four of us, me and my sibling. And it was very, 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 very tough. We couldn't really make ends meet. We were moving from pillar to pillar and living from paycheck to paycheck. And it was very tough, really. And it was like a message like this because I attended Winning Ways. Somebody invited me and I attended Winning Ways, and that changed my life tremendously. And you being here today, I must tell you, this is another step forward. And your pastor is really doing a very good thing, a great thing. Because those that are not here don't know what they are missing, really. Because when I attended Winning Ways, right, it opened my eyes on finance. I know I don't have anything, really. When I was growing up, I didn't really have anything. I was just working from, I think I started from a pottery, right? I became a painter and also became a factory worker. But when I attended that Winning Ways, he told me that, okay, your dad didn't train you. If your dad don't train you, can you really train yourself? How can you really start your life? How can you pick up the pieces from where you are? Do you understand? Because those things are things that will naturally just change you, change your situation, change your mindset, and change your orientation. And that really helped me. And speakers like Pastor Olumide Emmanuel, speakers like Sam Adeyemi, and speakers like Pastor Matthew Ashimolo really changed everything and my perception about life. Because everything you are going through now is a mindset. Yes, you might think you don't have money, right? But yes, God gave us sight. But in the actual sense, He gave us vision. What are you doing with your vision? What are you doing with your sight? Yes, we have an understanding that, okay, we have a pastor that is committed to your well-being and also to making sure that you are the best version of yourself. What are you doing about it? Yes, they've announced it that everybody should come here for a training like this. How many people made it? But because I showed up, you just have to be deliberate about showing up. I showed up and it transformed my life. When I first bought my first, what's it called, land, I think I was earning 40,000 and I paid 200,000 for that land. It was a mindset, and it was something they called seed. There's something they talk about finance, and I'll be talking about financial intelligence, one, because you need to be financially intelligent to be able to understand wealth. And secondly, I'll be talking about financial planning. You need to be able to plan your finance. And even when we are talking about financial intelligence, if you are not informed, you become deformed. And if you don't update yourself, you become outdated. And that's just basic things about life. You really need to understand these things. And when your pastor comes and he said something about you, when you wanted to marry or you are taking a decision to marry and every other thing, yes, I'm a living example of that too as well. Because when I wanted to marry, and there was something they did then, they took us through premarital classes. We went through premarital class, and I had so many things about the premarital class, but I didn't really pay attention. But somebody forced me to go anyway, and I went there. And thank God that I did. Even if I didn't go there, my marriage would have crashed. Because the first thing that happened is that my wife called me that, only we have to be eating in the dining table together. She's going to prepare my meal. We should put it on the table, and I have to come from work maybe around 9 o'clock. We'll now start eating together. I was like, when I was growing up, I don't eat like this now. I only eat myself. I was like, okay, I'll manage. So they taught us in what's it called, in pre-marriage course that we have to do that, and I start doing it. So later, when I go to the bakery, because I'm a very, very meticulous and I plan my things very well. Coming out from that training, every other thing that I do, I try to plan everything very well. But coming out from that training, And when I go to the toilet, I see that my wife will press the what's it called, the toothpaste from the middle, and I usually press it from the down up. And I was like, what is going on here? It became a problem, really. And at a point, first year of my marriage, it became a problem that I was thinking to myself that who really sent me to marry? Do you understand? I was like, who taught me to it? And I was like, what's really going on? So then I took it upon myself. I went to my mom and told my mom that, okay, you said I should marry. I've married though, but now I'm not marrying again. Because you will just discover, and what your pastor said about this being your formative years, and you taking the bull by the horn and doing things that based on the understanding, the insights, and the trainings that they are giving you, and even backing it up with the biblical aspect of it is really, really, you can't start a foundation without God. You have to start it with God, right? And when I went to my mom, explained everything to her, she told me, you have to manage and everything. Okay, that's how life is and every other thing. I said, okay. I went back to my house and everything. The first mistake of marriage, right, is you not putting it and grounding it with God. You have to start with God. You just have to. You don't have any option. You have to start with God. And also, yes, in the Bible, I've forgotten the verse here because my slide is not here. I had it there. That, okay, a man will leave his house. When they stated it, they said a man, not a boy, not a girl. They said a man will leave his house and now take his wife, and they become one as a unit. So you have to just understand it. Be able to take care of your wife, be able to take care of your kid. Now, when I married, and I asked myself that who talked me into this, and the second mistake I made was when my kid was coming, my first son was coming, and guy came and showed up. When he showed up, and it became a problem for us. We now start struggling and everything. I was like, I just sat down. I told my mom that I want to run away. No, seriously, this is a true life story. Yes, you are seeing me here and every other thing, and you keep because like we said, like I've always been saying, people need to learn from our stories. People need to learn from us. People really need to understand all these things. And platforms like this are platforms that you can learn anything from. Your pastors can't be there for you at all times, but they can create platforms like this for you to learn, for them to nurture you, and for you to have that insight and understanding. Do you understand? You don't have any reason being poor. Do you understand? You don't need to be as rich as Dangote and every other thing, but you don't have any reason being poor. Yes, my dad left me, but today I take care of him very well. He left me, he traveled, he stood abroad, and everybody says you want to japa, you want to japa. It's the seed you have in you that you will take anywhere in the world. You just have to have that seed, nurture it, and just like your pastor is nurturing you, nurture that seed. Build it. Do you understand? Learn. You have to be obsessively obsessed with learning and training yourself, relearning, unlearning, and relearn everything you've ever learned. I've been in IT for close to 20 years. I've done everything you can think of. When I started my life, I just like, I'll talk about all those stories because you need to learn from my story. When I talk to him, because I like training people, building them, building capacity, and he knows that when it comes to my office, I sit him down, I tell him, yes, you have a job, but that doesn't really define you. Yes, you are doing this, it shouldn't define you. In the Bible, the Garden of Eden has 4 streams. You should have more than 1 streams of income. You can't have just 1 streams of income. It's not enough. And this, yes, Nigeria is tough. Do you understand? We understand that. But it can only get tougher before it gets better. Do you understand? So, yes, it's tough. We understand that. When I first built my house, okay, the one that I bought before that, because before I even married, when I had that training and everything, I leveraged on other people's money, right? At the point, when I went to my mom, let me go back to that story because I need to share that story. It's very, very interesting. When I went to my mom to tell her that I need to run away, she sat me down and explained everything she needs to explain to me that, yes, life itself is not easy. I'm not in a race with anybody. You are not in a race with anybody. You are the architect of yourself. Your decision, your indecision would indirectly just shape you. But because you've decided to be here today, start transforming you. You need to understand that. Do you understand? Because when I went to her and she explained everything to me that I have to take it easy, I don't need to run anywhere, she's going to support me and every other thing, she now starts supporting me. And the funny thing is that She started giving my wife money without me knowing. Because then I was like, when the kid came in, the income that I thought I had, that as a young guy like you could manage, maybe a self-contained or something, wasn't enough. It can't really cater for you. And that's why you need to have multiple streams of income. And the age at which you are in now, as an IT person, yes, I made the mistake of staying like 10, 12 years in just one stream of income. But I don't want you to make the same mistake. And they are trying to train you now for you to understand. Some people didn't really show up. Yes, it's their luck, it's their loss. Because you have a lot to gain by being, they said, if you are on equal yoke with unbeliever, what will really happen to you? You have to. Do you understand? And the circle of friends or people that you go around with really determine you. So you have to just be deliberate about your future, be deliberate about your choices and actions, be deliberate about your inactions and actions, because it's definitely going to shape you and shape your years to come. You really need to change that narrative. Yes, you are where you are now, but that doesn't really define you. And like I said, she told me, I went there, she explained everything to me, and I took look at it, I thought about everything. I said, I can do this thing. I've gone through winning ways. I can do this thing. So what I did was like, I had to just go back to the training of my winning ways, got all the materials that I can get, and start learning from the people that are ahead of me. If you want to become somebody, look at somebody that you can take as your mentor and now mirror that person. I can tell you for a fact, if you've not learned anything, you have learned 2 or 3 things that is going to shape your life. And that shaped everything that I did. And before you know it, yes, I was in a rented apartment. Then I went back to my house. I was in a rented apartment. We had 3 cars. And my wife just said, 3 cars. And I wanted to change my own car. I sold it, wanted to change it to another car. My wife now looked at me that, how are we doing all these things? Who are we showing for? And I remember the training that I went through, and I said, it's true. Who are we really showing for? The land that we bought, that we secured, we didn't really do anything about it. I just told her, whether we like it or not, something needs to change. I told her, something needs to change. And I told her, we have now started looking. And the funny thing about everything that they are teaching you, everything is in the Bible. Everything. Power of wealth is in the Bible. Right? If you want to live long life, it's still in the Bible and everything. But it's just a pity that I'm just traveling. I didn't bring my material. I would have been able to put more insight and put more context into what I'm trying to say. But I'm going to tell you, based on the example and my real life scenario, to explain it to you very well. Because like I said, right, financial intelligence is key. What do you know about financial intelligence? How do you learn financial intelligence? By reading books, by picking a mentor, probably your pastor, to train you, or somebody that is ahead of you to train you. You have to be deliberate about it, right? And you have to be able to make money, right? Manage money, right? And manage, what's it called? Investment, and multiply money. That's 3 M's, right? Make, manage, and multiply. And that's critical in everything you need to do. And planning too, right? Financial planning. How do you plan your finance? Do you have a personal budget? Do you look at all your expenses? Do you manage your expenses? Do you even look at it? You'll be amazed at the amount of recharge card you buy when you calculate everything in a year. Or even the restaurants that you visit. You just need to be deliberate about it. And yes, when they say, God, pay 10%, do you really pay 10% to God? And do you really pay 10% to yourself? You really need to be deliberate about yourself. Yes, my story. I went back, sat down, looked at everything, and I sold one of those cars. And I told my wife, we went to church, prayed about it, and listed out all the places. See, your dreams need to be very big. If your dream is not scary, right, you are not ready for anything. It needs to be scary. We rather, some places that we know we can buy land in the next 10 years, we wrote it down. And funny enough, we bought like 4 unknowingly, because some of the trainings and some of the insights and ideas they've given you really works, and everything is in the Bible. We only listed it and we prayed about it and we commit ourselves to it. The first car we sold, we just used it to deposit for land, and that money wasn't even enough. But then we just went to go and borrow money. And because I pay myself 10% based on the trainings that I've gone, 10% of my salary goes to myself. I pay it, keep it without going there. They just remove it automatically. Now, another 10% you have to pay to God. God first before yourself. After God, you pay yourself the 10%. After paying yourself the 10%, you now look at your finance and plan it. See, if Brain Tracy will always say something about goals, right? Do you plan yourself? Do you have personal goals? Now, the pastor said something about, and I was like, when the pastor was talking and I sat down, it was like he was talking to me. Do you understand? Because I really gained a lot by being here, but I'm just not happy that I came late because I was just traveling. But he said so many things, and if you are really paying attention, you really get a lot from it. Yes, the time is short, but what he said is quite interesting. Because everything about marriage starts with you. This is your most formative years. Critical aspect of your life starts here. Once you get it wrong, you've gotten it wrong forever, and you've failed. Because the partner you choose now is either going to make or marry you. So you have to be sure that according to the scripture and according to God's guidance, you are choosing the right partner, or else, well, maybe I'm lucky. You might not be lucky in your own part, but then just choose it. Yes, you are here. You have to be deliberate about everything you do. Now, going back to our training, because I would have loved to be here, but many sections like this would be better because we would be able to train people. Because yes, we have insecurity in Nigeria. We have a whole lot of things happening. What do you think is causing it? It's because of out-of-place children that you have there that are not going to school, that will come back and haunt us. But if we can train as many people as we can, we'll take as many people out of poverty and put them into limelight. Because if you know the consequences and actions of everything you do, then it inadvertently just changes the narrative. So you understand. Because yes, people spend money on so many things. And organizing shows like this or events like this is really very critical to helping you plan yourself and being the best version of yourself. So yes, I bought that land, right? Sold the car, bought the land, because the 3 cars, we sold 2 of it. We had a money left problem. I had to sell another one to secure that land. When we secured the land, in 2 years, that land that we bought like about 4 point something million jumped to about 30 million. So you can see. So if I want to now buy another car now, you see how that goes, right? So things like this really help. You have to be financially intelligent. Learn as much as you can. Your situation can't change until you change it. Do you understand? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again without change. You need to change it. Yes, Nigeria is not good. 15 years back, Nigeria is still not good. Do you get? When I laid my first, block, they were telling me, if you had done it like a year ago, block is very cheap. But now block is like 7 times costlier than the time I did it. It will keep on going like that. So 2 things, right? Financial planning. How do you plan your finance? Yes, Nigeria is not good. What have you done about it? Your income will not change. We need to just be honest about it. You have to just do 2 things. Either you reduce your expenses or you increase your income. One of those 2 needs to happen. You just need to. So an income as a job earner won't increase. And with the economic situation, they either can sack you or take your job away from you. So, and that's why we are saying that get multiple sources of income. Even if they take that job away from you, you still have other source of livelihood. And you don't put pressure on yourself, on your family. Do you understand? I've made that mistakes. I don't want anybody else to make it. And when he came to my office and saying I should come, I said, no, I'm traveling. I can't come. That I'll just plan, let's plan another. He said, I have to just come. Right? And I'm happy that I did. I showed up. Do you understand? So you have to be deliberate about it. You have to plan it. I know that my slide is not here, but I'll try as much as possible to make it more impactful. So you have to be deliberate about planning. You have to plan it, and you have to ensure that all your budgets are being accounted for. We don't tell you that everything down to probably sending money to your mom or something that should be planning all those things. You just need to write all those things down and have it in a way that you understand and the way you can relate with. So you know every part of the process and everywhere your money is going to. Because if you understand it, then you can be able to make more informed decisions about how you spend your money. Do you understand? So you have to be deliberate about it. And secondly, you have to be disciplined. You just have to be disciplined. Yes, I think what happened then, yes, when I married and my mom persuaded me to stay and everything, I stayed. And I started managing myself, cut my finance, planned myself, and did everything. But then, I know the money was not enough. Then I started side hustle. Do you understand? And in IT, and oh, sorry, before I forget this time and period that you are in now, right, is a very, very, very interesting period. Very, very interesting. You can start a business in the fly. You can start a business in US and be Nigeria and run it. You can bring in goods from China and come into Nigeria here to use it. You have several platforms like Shopify, Equid, and a whole lot of platforms that you can leverage on. Some of those platforms are free. And you can even be a tech unicorn. You have to have a vision. You have to have an idea. Everything is possible. Do you understand? And if it's not possible, you've not tried it. You have to try it first. And that's why you need to be deliberate about everything you do. And if you think something is not going to work, right, try it first. Change your circle of friends. Don't, because your circle of friends, they say, show me who your friends are, then I'll tell you who you are. So change your circle of friends. If they are not pushing you to do something that is going to make you different, don't be in association with them. They said, well, why would you be in association with unbeliever? You just have to. You have to be deliberate about planning. Plan your finance, plan yourself, plan everything you do. And also, if you don't read, right, you will be misinformed. You won't be informed. You have to. They say, Pastor Sam Adeyemi will always say, ideas rules the world, right? How do you get those ideas? How? You have to put God first. And also, there's something in IT we call critical thinking. How do you think critically? Go beyond the ordinary. And sometimes things always happen in the spiritual before it comes to manifest in the physical. So you have to put God in everything you do. My story is a very, 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 very funny story. And if I start to recount it, you won't be able to go anywhere today. So you have to be disciplined. So the next part of my story that happened to me personally is, okay, I told my mom and every other thing, and before I know it, I got a job that is times 2 the salary I was being paid. But because I've learned all these things, right? I didn't tell my mom, I didn't tell anybody. I was still living between the way I was living. Nobody knew anything. So that excess money, I was able to use it to invest and to do other things. And that really helped me. Really. That really, really, really changed the narrative. Because then they will be saying, it doesn't have money, Joe. It doesn't have money. Who do you want to show for? Really? Who are we really showing for? We just need to be disciplined and understand the fact that we are in no race with anybody. And even if you want to marry, like the pastor said earlier on, you really need to put God in these things. Put God in the decision. Ensure that you understand what you are going into. Because marriage is not a child's play. It's a continuous learning process. I've been married now for 16 years, and my pastor said something that your wife will do something, you've corrected her, she will continue to, maybe in the next 2 months, I say, don't do this thing again, this. Before you know it, she did the same thing. What would you do? Are you going to drive her out? My wife does that regularly, and I've been married for over 16 years now. I can tell you for a fact, I don't know my wife fully. No, I don't know her fully. I'm still learning. It's a school that you don't graduate from. You just keep learning, and readjusting and adjusting. Do you understand? And also, you put God in it, because the devil does not want something good. Doesn't really want anything. And once you have a broken home, right, the future of the kids has already been truncated. So you really need to understand that part. And like I said, and I'll keep saying it, you coming here today, you are here to learn a whole lot of things. If I was able to learn from like 20 years back, and it changed me, because I would probably be a organizer. No, seriously, or maybe a mechanic. No, you're laughing. It's true. But because I went to Winning Ways, right, my dad, I come from a very rich family, but I ended up not using a spoon. If you know what that means. Yes, I use a gold spoon then. My house, if anything, maybe a fridge, I just don't like the color of that fridge. I'll tell them to come and change it. And they'll come and change it. But my dad just left us, traveled. When he traveled, he married again and left us. I picked up from there. Initially, it was a bit difficult, but with the training and everything that I went through, and I saw it that, okay, there's nobody there, you have to do it yourself. Put God in it and do it yourself. And I can't overemphasize it. You just really need to be deliberate about your future. deliberate about your actions, and also ensure that you plan your finances. You have to be financially intelligent, have to have financial planning, and also be disciplined. Really be disciplined. And the last part of my training is, sorry, okay, you have to continuously invest in yourself and develop yourself, right? Like I said, that financial literacy is key, is critical. You can't really do anything without really understanding your finance. You can't really do anything. You can be in a job. Yeah, like a friend of mine would always say that we can afford to be in a job for 40 years, but we can't afford to start a business and struggle for 5 years. There's a difference between the two. Most of us would prefer that, okay, they are paying us out, the job is secured and everything. There's a friend of mine now that is a multi-millionaire. We started together. When I was telling him that, okay, yes, I wanted to work somewhere, and he said, no, we shouldn't work, we should start a business and everything, because I did software engineering. He said, no, that we should not. Let's just go and start business and everything. We registered the business, but somebody somewhere saw me that, this guy know IT, now called me that I should just try, come to join their interview. And I was like, no, I don't want to work. I want to concentrate on our job that we just created a company. He said, no, that I should just come. I should try. When I went for that interview and I sat down for the interview, they finished it. They not told me that, you passed the interview. Okay, I passed the interview and I said, okay, that's fine. But before I knew it, they give me a letter. And when I saw the amount there, I couldn't resist it. And that truncated my future. That's all. You're laughing. I couldn't resist it. I just told the guy, okay, I'll come and join you. Don't worry. Just continue first. We'll join it. And today I'm still working. Even though I know I've created some startups and everything. But then that guy started, he struggled for like 5 years, and now he's a multi-millionaire. Do you get? So don't let anybody truncate your destiny or your idea. Just make sure that, see, there's nothing in life that is perfect. Nothing. You have to just make sure that you are taking steps. Progression over perfection. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to progress. Do you understand? And if I'm not going to leave you with anything, right, I want you to understand the fact that platforms like this are things that you shouldn't joke in. You should not joke with. Make sure you are here to show up, and make sure you are deliberate about your future. Because in everything you do, is you, not everybody else. You only have one life to live. And you are either going to leave it to the fulfillment of what God's purpose is for you, or you are going to leave it to the fulfillment of what devil has for you. So you just need to choose one. So thank you, everybody. Sorry for not really having my slides, but I appreciate it.